So today we'll work on merging multiple internal tables data into one single output. Okay. So as of now, what we have observed, we have created a program to select data from one single table in start of selection, and we are just displaying it, right?
Yes, sir.
Usually it won't be that scenario. Like when we are working on the projects, it's not that simple. The data, whatever the business data required, is not going to be available in single table. Okay, we have to select that business data from multiple
Multiple
tables.
tables.
But how many outputs we are going to display?
Single output.
Single output, right? So before displaying the output, we have to merge the data which you have collected from different tables into a single output. Okay, and we need to display that data as a output. Output method might be anything. Okay, we can use ALV output, we can use file output. Okay, depends on the requirement. But before that, we have to merge it. So we have employee ID, employee name is in one table. But how can you find the department of this employee? So in our
From
output,
department table.
we need a employee department also. So the department data is available in a different table. That is department table. Department ID, I think we have only two fields in our example table. Employee ID. So we are going to maintain department and employee ID like that. Okay. Now by going through this table, we can find department of the employee, right? We can find the department of the employee in second table. Now what is the link between both tables? What is the link between both tables?
Employee IDs.
Employee ID.
Employee ID, right? Employee ID is the link between both tables. Common field. Observe the common field. Employee ID is the common field between both tables. Now, so now I got employee data and that corresponding department. I know the department. Okay. What is it, a department ID or department name?
Department ID.
Department ID, right? But I wanted to display department name also. Where can I find the department name? This table is for department ID and employee master data link. Okay. So where can I find the department name? That is in a different table. That is in department master table. Where can I find the department name? That is in department master
Department
table.
master table.
So that contains department ID, department name. Okay. For example, SAP, SAP department. So it contains department ID and department name. Now here, by selecting data from this table, third table, I can get my department name, right? Now I have employee data, including employee ID, name, city, and, and department ID. So which department that employee belongs to, and I have a department name. What is the name of the department ID? Description. Okay. Usually, how we need to display the output? Do we need to display the codes or text in the output for the end user? Do we need to display the codes or name to the end user when we are displaying it in the report?
Name.
So in most cases, we display name also or description also, material description. It's, let's say there is a material number or employee. If you display only employee ID, how can I know that who is that employee in the output, right? I don't know, right? Let's assume this is your final output. If I display like this, 100 SAP, if we display the output like this, who is this 100? Do I know who is this 100 now? Now again I have to take this value and I have to check in a different program or different table to know who is this 100, right? So a detailed report should contain always descriptions. Name of 100. Now I know who is 100. 100 is so and so person and he belongs to this city and he belongs to which department? SAP DEPT. Instead of code, just display the text. It is very clear, right? To understand the text, right?
Yes, sir.
If you display the ID, again he has to check that in a different table or different program to know what is that ID, what is that department. Okay. So here it is in characters like SAP, it is easy to understand. But if it is in some codes like this, some D100, no one knows, right? What is D100 department? No. Usually, if it is a department, might be everyone in the company might understand what is D100. But if you take other values, if you just display the code, it is not easy to understand, right? What is that value? So we should also display the descriptions. Okay. Usually, where you are going to select these descriptions? From where you are going to select these descriptions? Where these descriptions are going to available in SAP tables?
Field label.
Field label.
Text.
From where you can select these descriptions, text or value text. Where you can find the text of the department ID in general. Where can you find the text of the material number or a description of the material number?
Data element, sir.
I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the field description, okay, table field description, but the value. Let's say there is a material number 100.
Table, sir.
Let's say there is a material number 100. If you want to know What is the description of this material number? What is the name of this material number? From where you can find it?
Table.
Which table? I know every data
Main.
resides in the table
Main.
only.
Mara.
Which table?
Text.
Text table. In the previous session, we have
Yes,
spent
sir.
almost 1 hour or 1.5 hours on this.
Yes, sir.
Text
Yes,
tables and language translations, right? All the descriptions and texts are going to be available in text tables in general. Okay, right? What is the use of these text tables?
For language
For language translation,
translations.
automatic language translation. We maintain this text in different languages, depends on the requirement, right? We select descriptions from text tables. What is mandatory to use text table? When you are using a text table in select statements, what is mandatory?
yes, we are.
Mandatory.
In where condition you have to pass SPRAS, SPRAS, that is language code. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Let's come back to our this example, merging multiple internal tables example into a single output. So we have employee data in one table, and to know department ID, we need to select the data from different table, and to know name of the department ID, we need to use a different table, right? Now, what is the link between department ID of the employee and department table? Department ID, right? This is the common field between these two tables, right? These two are the common fields, right? Between second table and third table. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
First table and second table, the common key is employee ID.
Employee ID.
For second table and third table, common key is
Department.
department
Department.
ID. So first we are going to select data from employee ID table, and then we are going to select data of department for each
From.
employee what we have selected here. That is available in second table, right?
Yes, sir.
And description of the department.
From the department table.
Description of the department is available in third table, right? Now first we need to select the data from first table, and then we need to select department data for all the records selected in the first table. Okay, whoever the employee selected from the first table, we need to find department, which department they belongs to, using second table data. Once you selected that second table data, you need to select descriptions of the all departments you have selected here from the second table. Now we are going to use three different tables, and the final output should be single output by merging all this data like this. So the final output should be like this. Employee ID, for example, employee name, DEPT ID, department name, and city. This is my final output. Let's assume this is my final output. This is how I want to display the output, right? But if you observe here, All these fields are available in single table?
No, sir.
No. Employee ID is from table 1. I'll give
First
some
table,
numbers. Employee ID is from first table. Okay, name is also there in first table. Department ID is in second table. Department name is in second table, sorry, third table. City is in first table. So what I am
First
doing
step.
here, we are merging data from all these multiple tables into single output. Let's see how we are going to do it in the program. Mostly like wherever you go, like whatever the program it is, mostly we are going to do this. We are going to collect data from different tables and merging it to a single output. Okay, this is the most frequent thing what we need to do in the programs. Okay, but here we have taken only a simple example. Once you are able to understand this, I'll create one more program on standard tables. Okay, to merge data, but it is same. There is no difference. Okay, if you understand this
okay,
concept, everything is same and similar. Okay, so this is the name I am providing for this program. Create the program, provide the short description, employee report. Please observe carefully. This is very important. Okay, this concept is very important. Now, what is my requirement? I wanted to display employee data along with his department details, right? First, let's check the tables. So, whatever the steps we have observed in the previous program, we worked on a flow, right? A program development flow. What is the first step? What is it? What is the first step in program development flow? What we have discussed?
Initialization.
lot of
Initialization.
program initialization,
No,
At
why you
selection
guys are
screen.
talking about events? I'm not asking about the program events, but I'm asking about a program development flow, which we have discussed in the previous session. Application development flow, or first step is analyze the requirement, understand the requirement. That is requirement gathering. What is your requirement? What is our requirement for the program? To display the employee data
employee data.
in the report format. That is what my requirement, right? With the so and so fields, employee ID, employee name, department ID, department name. This is my requirement. What are the inputs? What are the inputs for the program? Maybe I'll take
Employee
department
ID.
ID. I'll take department ID as my input. Oh, okay, or date of join. So this is requirement gathering. What is the next step? Understand the tables. Like observe what are all the tables required for this program. Okay, from which tables we need to select the data and what is the condition, right? I'm talking about development flow. I'm not talking about the events. Okay, go to SC11. So to select the employee data, all the employee master data available in this table, Z demo employee. Just check the data. Yeah, data is available. I wanted to display. I wanted to take let me. I wanted to take employee ID, employee name, and date of join from the employee master data. Okay, from the employee master data. Then what is the other details I need? Employee department, right? How can I know the employee department? For that, we have a separate table, employee department table. Here we have employee ID and its corresponding department. Here we have employee ID and department, right? If employee belongs to multiple departments, we maintained it here. Here you can find the department ID, not name, right? Department ID, not name. But where you can find the department name?
In the department master table.
How can you know the
Department
department
table.
master table? Your functional consultant did not provide you the department master table. How do you know what is department master table?
Then we'll see what is the check table provided. If
Hmm. Go to the foreign key relationship. Select the field and go to foreign keys. Here you can find the check table, right? Correct?
yes, sir.
Double click on the check table. So this is the master table. This is the department master table, but there is no department description here, right? Is there a department description here?
No, sir.
Here we have only ID, but how can you find the department description?
Text table.
Go to text
Text
table.
table.
Here we have department ID and text, right?
Yes, sir.
So this will be our third table. What we need to use to select the department text, right? So this is the table which you need to select, which you need to use to select the department text, not the department master table, not this one. You don't need to select data from this. Okay, correct?
Okay.
To to select the description, you have to go to text table and select the data from here. Okay. This is how it works in any real-time project. Okay. No one will provide you all the details. You have to find yourself. Okay. If you say that I don't know what is the text table, then no one will accept. There is always a way to find it. Okay. Clear? So from this text table, I have this department text. If you want city, from the first table, you can display city or phone number. That is optional. Okay. Now, if you observe here, so this report contains fields from multiple tables. Now let's select how we are going to form this final output in the program. So our requirement gathering is completed, and we have identified the required tables. And what is the next step? Realization. Realization in the sense creating the program. Okay, in usual project flow, the actual development is called realization phase. Okay, now create the program. Now tell me what are the events, sequence of the events.
Initialization, get some screen,
Yeah,
start
initialization,
selection,
At selection
selection,
At
screen,
selection screen,
start of
start
selection,
of
end of
selection,
selection.
end of
start of
selection.
selection, end of selection. Is it mandatory to use events? Can't we write a program without using events? Can't we write a program without using events?
No, sir. No, sir.
So what did we do in the initial days? We created the program. Did we use the events to create the program? The first three or second or third class, when we are creating the basic programs, did we use any events?
No, sir.
No, sir.
We did not
No,
use
sir.
any events. So it is possible, right, to create a program without events?
Yes, sir.
It is possible, but we need to use the events to achieve a specific functionality. So can you provide default values to the selection screen inputs without using initialization event? To pass the default values, calculated values to the selection screen inputs, you have to use a initialization event.
Utilization.
And for validation of the selection screen inputs, you have to use at selection screen. Okay, these are mandatory, right, for those two specific functionalities. Or let's try, let's define a parameter, parameters p underscore doj type. Okay, now let's try passing some default value without using initialization. P underscore doj equal to, for example, what is the date? 12 12 20. Can you see the default value? Can you see the default value here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, what is it? Maybe a space required. Now let's execute the program. I'm not using any events, right? Let's execute the program. Provide some input. 612. It seems no data available for that. Date range. What is the DOJ? Let's check in the table. this value is there, but still it is not displaying the output. Let's okay. If you observe here, it is just overwriting it. Let me change this value if I can. 1206, right? Because we are overwriting that value, whatever the input we are providing, right? It is just overwriting, updating with the new value here. That is 1220. Just tell me, are you able to populate the default value to the selection screen without using initialization?
No.
No, right? It is not working. You cannot populate default value. Now let's try initialization. So I'm using initialization now. Now let's see how it will work. Now it is populated, right? The default value, correct?
Yes, sir.
But where is your output? Or let's try this one. Where is your output? Maybe it's overwriting. Let me take the same 06, right? We have data for 6th December in the table. Now let's execute this. Why it is displaying the output? Are you guys able to see the selection screen? I'm in the program. Execute the program. Are you able to see the selection screen?
No, sir.
Are you able to enter any input?
No, sir.
Or it is directly displaying the output. It is not validating or it is not showing any selection screen to change the date input. It is directly going to the output, right? And later it is displaying the selection screen. So what it is doing? It is considering all this code part of initialization. So when the initialization event will execute, when this initialization event will trigger before displaying the selection screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Before displaying the selection screen. So all this business logic also it is considering as part of initialization event, right? Now what is the event that we have to use for business logic? Let's separate the logic by start of selection. Now execute. Now if you execute, then only your output will be displayed, because when you execute, then your business logic is going to be executed, which is part of start of selection. Clear? Now we are able to separate the program execution flow, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are we validating? No, we are not validating, right? For now, let's comment the start of selection. What is the next event?
Get selection screen.
Get selection screen. This is to validate the selection screen inputs. Whatever the inputs provided by the user, we are going to validate here. Okay. When this event will execute, is it before displaying the selection screen or after displaying the selection screen?
After displaying the
After
screen.
displaying the selection screen. And when click on execute, it is not even after displaying the selection screen. It won't trigger automatically after displaying the selection screen. When user click on execute, then this event will trigger. Okay. To validate the inputs, whatever provided by the user. For example, if p underscore doj is less than 2020 0101 and display some error. This is what my validation. Now execute the program. Now I'm not using startup selection. Okay. Now let's see how it will behave, how the program will behave. I'm changing this to some 2009. Okay. So it stopped here. Why it is stopped here? Because we are raising the error message, right? Because we are raising the error message. So the program processing is going to stop. Go back, or let's use like this. Let's say whatever the value is there will raise the error. If there is a value, will raise the error. Not initial means that, right? If there is some value in the data of join, let's raise the error and check how the program is working. Execute. So it is stopping here because we are raising a error message. It's not proceeding further. Correct? Right? But when your business logic is going to be executed, is it also going to be a part of at selection screen event? Let's comment this. So because I am raising the error message, that's why it is not proceeding further. You know, right? What is the property of error message type E? It will stop the program processing at the current line. It won't proceed further. Or let's try information message or warning. Let's try information message. Execute. So it is displaying some information message. Click on continue. It will proceed further. Okay. Now let's separate the business logic using a startup selection. Okay. Is initial. Is initial means if it is empty, display error message. So you have some idea, right? We can create the programs without events, but to achieve some specific functionalities, we should use events. Okay. But it is always recommended to use events. Don't create any program without using events. Okay. Any report program. Okay. Clear? At least startup selection is required. If you don't use initialization, it won't. If you don't want to display default values, you don't need initialization. If you are not validating the inputs, you don't need at selection screen, but just try to use startup selection for business logic. Okay. Clear? Now observe here. So we are passing the data of join, and we are passing and we are validating here if it is empty in net selection screen. So what is your business functionality? We need to display employee data and employee data report, right? Which contains employee data and department data. So we have selected data from one table, right? That is, what is the next table we have to select?
Department.
Department table to know the department of the employee. Now in this table, we have only employee details, employee ID. Now tell me what is the link between employee table and department table?
Employee ID.
Employee ID is the common field. Now we have selected employees, all the employees who joined on a specific date because we are using date of join, right? In the where condition. Now by executing this, I'm going to get all the employees who joined on that specific date into this internal table, right? Correct? Now what is my next step? I need to find department of the employees who joined on this specific date, right? So all my employees are in this internal table. Once you executed this select statement, we are going to select all the employees to this, not all the employees who joined on the date, that specific date of join into this one, right? This internal table. Now what is my next step? I need to find department of the employees selected into this internal table. Whoever the employees selected into this internal table. For all those employees, I have to find department, right?
Yes, sir.
Now how can I do that? Now for the first select statement, what is the input parameter? Input program input parameter is the input for the
Date of
first
join.
statement. For the second table, what is the input? For the department table, what is the input? What is the input for department table to select
Employee
the
ID.
employee ID is the input so that you can select department ID of those employees. So here department ID is the input for the second table. Where is that? Sorry, yeah, employee ID is the input for the second table. What is where we have that employee ID? That is in this data internal table, right? All the employees are available in this internal table, right? So this is the input for second table. Okay, this data, whatever the data we have selected in the first table is the input for second table. Let's see how we are going to write it. Select, I'm using star only. Okay, you can try with the limited fields. What is the table we need to select? Here
Gdemo
demo underscore
DEPT
emp underscore dept
underscore DEPT. PT.
into table emp department where what is the condition I have to pass here? What is a common
Employee.
field? What is a common field between employee and department? Employee ID,
Employee
right?
ID.
Employee
Employee ID.
ID
ID.
equal to what? What we need to pass? Where we have
IP
the
underscore.
employees who joined on specific date of
Internal
join. We
table.
have that
Employee
in
table.
this employee
Internal
internal
employee
table,
table.
right? And is that enough? Hyphen emp ID. You have to provide the field name,
EMP ID.
right? Is it going to work? Is the statement is going to select department data for the all employees in this internal table? Whatever the data we selected in the first level select statement. If you give it like this, if you provide the condition like this, where condition like this, what I'm saying here? Okay, I'm saying that please select all the department data or department records which belongs to this employee ID for all the records available in this employee internal table. Who are all the employees I've selected in the first level select statement? Please select corresponding department data. Okay, is it going to work? No. To select this corresponding data, okay, to use to select data which is available in the internal table, and if you want to select corresponding data, what is the statement you need to use? For all entries, for all entries in which table? This internal table. For all entries in this internal table, you have to add this condition, you have to add this statement for all entry statements, right? What are you saying here? You are saying that select data from employee department table into one internal table for all the entries. for all the records selected in the first level select statement. Whatever the data selected in the first level, I need to select corresponding data in this current select statement, right? For all the employee IDs selected in the first level select statement, select the department data. That's what I am saying using for all entries. Okay, clear? Use @ escape sign. For this also use escape sign. Check the syntax. No syntax errors. Is everyone able to understand? First we are selecting the employee data in first level select statement, and then we are selecting corresponding department data, not for all the employees. We are not selecting all the records from employee department table. We are going to select records, department records, whatever selected, whatever the employee selected in the first level select statement, right? We are going to select department data for only those employees, which we are going to get into this employee internal table, right? We are using this employee internal table as input for the second level select statement, correct? Is everyone able to understand? Or we'll select only department ID here. Star is not required actually. We'll select only department ID, or maybe we need star. Okay, let's keep it as it is. Okay. So what is the next level data I need?
Department text.
Department text. If I am able to select the department data, if sy hyphen
Subars equal to 0.
equal to 0. Next select department text
Star
data.
from
What is the input for the third select statement?
department name.
Department ID is the common field and department ID is the input.
Department ID.
So from which table we need to select department text? So what is the text table for department? What is the text table for department? Go to department master data and go to text
Text
table.
table.
So this is the text table, right? Use your text table.
From
Into table data of IT underscore DEPT text. Same. Now we have selected departments, right? Here in the second level select statement, what you have selected? All the departments belongs to this first level employees. Whoever the employee selected in the first level select statement, right? Correct? We have selected all the departments. Now what is the next step here? To select the department text, use for all entries. For all entries in which table?
employee department table.
Employee department table. And what is the where condition?
Where
Where?
EMP ID
What is the common field
and
between what is the
department
common
ID.
field between department table and the department text table?
Department ID. Sir.
Department
Department.
ID equal to
IT underscore department text.
this one.
EMP department. EMP
We have
department.
already selected the department IDs into this internal table in the second level select statement. Now I am going to select text for all those records, right? Now I got the data, right? 3 tables data. Is everyone able to understand what we are doing here? What is the statement that we use to select data from the second table for all the entries in the first table, for all the records in the first table? What is the statement we are going to use?
For all entries.
for all entries, right? By using for
Yes,
all
sir.
entries, we are going to select data from second table, right? Input is first table records. Here the input is first table records, right? For the select second statement, what is the input? What is the input for the second select statement? Department data.
Employee
First
ID.
level employee
First
ID
table,
records.
first level employee
Okay,
ID.
whatever selected in the first level select statement, those employee records are the input. For the third select statement, whatever the departments we have selected in the second select statement, those are the inputs for the third select statement, right? How we are going to say that? How we are going to define that condition using for all entries. Okay, for all entries, we can use for all entries to select data from corresponding tables. Okay, related tables by using internal table data as input. Correct? Here we are passing the complete internal table data as input. Please observe that. Okay, is everyone clear? Before using for all entries, before using for all entries, there are some mandatory rules to be followed. Okay, what are the mandatory rules to be followed for all entries? This is very important interview question. That is for all entries. So what is the use of for all entries? For all entries are used to select corresponding data from the multiple tables using internal table data as input, right? What are the rules to use the for all entries? What are the rules to use the for all entries? There should be at least one record in the first level internal table. Whatever the first level internal table we are using in where condition, there should be,
At least one record.
okay, the first level internal table should contains at least one record, should not be blank. Okay, should not be empty. The first level internal table should not be empty. That is a mandatory rule. Go to the program, the first rule. So before using for all entries, are we checking that? Are we checking that the first level internal table contains at least one record or not? Are we checking that rule one? So we are using this LT underscore employee in the second select statement, right? What is the rule? This IT underscore employee should contain at least one record. That is the rule, right? Before using for all entries.
Yes.
Are we checking that condition? Are we checking that is there at least one record available in the IT employee or not? Before we are using for all entries here, but are we checking that condition? Are we checking that this internal table contains at least one record or not?
Yes.
Yes or no? Please
Yes,
observe
sir.
the code and tell me.
Yes, sir. I think
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where are we checking?
sub RC.
You are right. If sub RC equal to 0 means the above select statement is successful and it contains at least one record, right? Then only sub RC will be 0.
Yes.
If the select statement is able to select at least one record, then only the sub RC is equal to 0, right? So we are checking that first condition. Rule 1 is checked. What is the second rule to use for all entry statement? Internal table should be sorted, okay, or sorted order. So we should sort the internal table before using it in for all entries. By which field? By sorting can be done by different fields of that internal table, right? What is the field that we have to use in sort? This one. Whatever the field we are using in where condition. We have to sort that internal table by this field employee ID. Are we checking the second rule? Are we following the second rule? The mandatory rules to be followed to use for all entries. So what is for all entries in the first place? For all entry statements is used to select data from multiple tables, multiple corresponding tables using internal table data as input. Okay. So we are going to select records for the internal table reference. Now are we following the second rule? Sorting. Are we sorting the internal table? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Are we sorting the internal table
Yes, sir.
before
Yes, sir.
using for all entries? Where are we sorting?
In where condition?
I10.
No,
No, we are not sorting it.
no, we are not sorting, sir.
We are not sorting it, right? Are we using sort statement? Have you guys
No,
already forgot
sir.
that? Sort, sorting internal table
Sort IT underscore employee by
by ascending or descending. Any order is fine, but that should be in sorted order. Internal table should be in sorted order by field. Whatever the field we are using here in where condition. What is the field we are using?
employee ID, employee ID.
Employee ID. The second rule, rule 2 is also implemented, right? Correct? Rule 2 is also followed, right? We are sorting the internal table by this field. Now what is the third rule?
Again, again for the
Go to the third rule. The internal table should contain unique records. No duplicates. No duplicates allowed. This is the third rule. This is the mandatory third rule. So there should not be no duplicate records in the internal table. Okay. By which field? Duplicates in the sense if you take combination of the fields, that will decide the duplication, right? Here if you take only employee ID, if the same employee ID is repeating, then that is a duplicate record, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct? So how to remove the duplicates? If there is any duplicate record, delete. This is the statement to delete the duplicate records. So it will keep only the unique record and remove all the duplicate records. Delete adjacent duplicates. Delete adjacent duplicates from which internal table? Adjacent duplicates means side by side. If there are duplicate records one after one, just remove duplicate records and keep only unique records. Okay,
inactive records.
if the employee ID 100 is repeating for multiple times, what it will do?
It will check the combination.
It will delete the duplicate records and keep only one record. Okay, keeps only one record, one unique record. Clear? Hmm. Comparing all fields are only specific field. If you compare by all fields, it will
Employee.
find the duplicates combination of all the fields just like this. Now tell me here, let's assume the first one is the internal table. Now let's say we have sorted, this is a sorted order in ascending. So records will be like this 100 and 200 since we sorted it in ascending by employee ID. Now tell me, is there any duplicate records in it? Is there any duplicate records in the internal table? No. So when you apply delete adjacent duplicates, is it going to delete any record? No. Since we are all having unique records, right? City might be repeated. City is repeating. That is not a duplicate record. We have to always look by the field, whatever we are comparing. Okay. Now let's see. You have 100. Name is some different name. Now, when we sorted and check for delete adjacent duplicates, is there a duplicate record or not in this internal table? Is there any duplicate record in the internal table?
Yes, sir.
There is a duplicate record by right by employee ID.
Yes, sir.
There is a duplicate record, that is 100. Now what the delete adjacent duplicates will do? It will remove the second duplicate, the second record, okay, and keeps only the first record, right, like this. Now we are going to have only unique records by that employee ID field, okay. For example, if you compare with all the fields, if you use this statement comparing all the fields, is it going to delete that record? This one, 100. Name test. So what is the statement that I am using here? Delete adjacent duplicates from the internal table comparing all fields. Now let's see, is there any duplicate records if you compare all the fields for the employee ID 100?
No, sir.
It's a unique record. When you compare by all the fields, employee ID is common, but check the employee name, different, right? Employee ID is same, but the name is different. City also different, right? City is also different, right? When you compare with all the fields, it is not a duplicate record. But when you compare with a specific field, that is employee ID, is it a duplicate record or not?
Yes.
When you compare with a specific field, there is a duplicate record. But when you compare with all the fields, it is not a duplicate
No,
record. Now, tell me, when you compare with all the fields, do you have a duplicate record or not?
No,
no,
sir.
sir.
No?
No.
Observe the name. Name of the
Name
both records are same or different? Different,
difference.
right?
The name
Different, sir.
is
So
different.
there is no there is no duplicate record when you compare with all these three fields, employee ID, employee name and city. Now, let's compare with only employee ID and city. Can
Duplicate
we check
records,
for
sir.
duplicates? There is repeating entry,
Yes,
right?
sir.
With the same employee
No.
ID and with the same city, we have two records, right? So
Yes.
that's how we need to think, and we have to compare the check the duplicates. Okay, depends on the requirement. You have to, that comparison will be different. If you compare all the fields, there is no duplicate records. If you compare by specific fields, there are duplicate records, right? So depends on the requirement. This comparison will be changed. You have to think and apply that comparison. Here in this scenario, in our current scenario, What is the comparison we have to apply? Employee ID, right? We need to compare duplicates by employee ID because that is what we are using in where condition. Now, rule 3 is applied, right? So before using for all entries, what you need to follow? We have to follow 3 mandatory rules. We have to make sure the first internal table is not empty. First, in the sense, I'm also refer to this as header internal table. This is should not be empty. So this is I'm making sure using sub RC check, and that should be in sorted order. So I'm using sort statement to sort the internal table, and we have to delete duplicate records by that field, comparing that field. So 3 rules are followed, right? So wherever you are using for all entries, these 3 rules are mandatory. We should follow these rules, correct?
Yes.
Now go to the third select statement. Are we following the rules before using for all entries?
No, sir.
No, sir. We
No.
didn't.
Apply same rules on this table, employee department table. But here the internal table is different. User, please mute. Please mute.
Speak on.
What is the sort condition here? What is the do we need to use employee ID or department ID?
Department
Because we are using department ID in the where condition, and it is the common field between both the tables.
and
We have to
comparing
delete.
with the department ID.
We have to delete duplicates by comparing department data.
Department ID.
Okay. Now my data selection is completed, and I have applied mandatory rules to use for all entry statement. Right? Clear? Now what is my next step? I have to merge this complete data into a single output, right? Correct? My data is ready in 3 different internal tables. Now I need to merge that data into single internal table, correct? To display it as output. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
So,
Now, how to merge these 3 internal tables data into single internal table? Usually we call that as final table, final internal table, right? We call that as final internal table. Did we define that final internal table somewhere? Did we define that final internal table somewhere in the program?
No, sir.
No.
No, we didn't.
And also that internal table should contain okay, fields from
All
all
the
these 3 different tables, combination of all 3 different tables. Okay. Now let's first define that internal table. How to define an internal table with required fields? I'm going to use a type structure, types begin of For example, ty underscore final. What are all the fields I need in the my final internal table? Take it from tables one by one. First, I need fields from employee master data, right? To display in the final output, I want employee ID. Copy like this. Control Y, and you can copy required fields. Control C, paste it here, or you can also type it, but I'm using some shortcut. Type data element, comma. You know, right, how to define a type structure?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. So these are the fields from employee master data. I need department data also, right? Display. What is the next level data I want to display? I want to display department ID and department name. I don't want language, but I want department ID and department text. Now you should have a question after showing this. You guys should have a question. Now my type structure is ready. Type end of ty underscore final. This is my type structure. The fields which I want to use in my internal table. Right? Now let's define an internal table. Data it
IT
underscore
underscore
final type
final
standard table of please mute.
TY underscore final
Let's define one work
work
area
area
also.
WA underscore WA underscore final type TY underscore final.
Now I have defined one internal table and one work area. Now tell me from which table this employee ID is coming from. EMP master. This is also from EMP master. This is also from employee master table. What about department ID? This is from text table, department text table, right? Department ID is from the data value. But are we using department master data here? Do we really need that? Employee department data, this table. Do we really need that? Here in the final structure, we are not using it, right? The final output, are we using fields from this employee department table? That is second table.
The same field exists in the department table.
Uh, Same department ID table is already there in a text table. So do we need to use this second table in this scenario? Can we remove this second data selection? Because the department ID is already there in department text table, right? And we are not using department employee department fields in our final output. Do we need that second select statement?
We need it, sir, because employee
Uh,
ID is not there in
because you
the
don't know the
relation between
department.
the first and third
Uh,
table is not there.
yes, if you don't use it, you cannot find the department of that employee ID. For that reason, we are using the second table to find department of the employee ID. If you know the department, then only you can find the text, right? Without knowing the department, how can you find the department text in the third level, right? Now, my internal table declaration is completed, right? Now, what we need to do? We need
Sir,
to, yes,
tables we need no need to give in the top, sir.
which tables?
The name of the tables.
Where?
In the structures, when we are taking the fields on the table, no need to declare like You declared for final, no, sir.
Hmm,
We directly declared for the final, right, sir?
correct.
So no need to declare for the separate, like we
Separate.
took three tables, no,
Observe
sir.
here. Three tables I am declaring in the select statement itself. That's what I've explained in the previous
Okay.
sessions, right? I'm using inline declarations. You don't need to define
Okay,
these
okay.
internal tables separately. Okay?
Yes, sir, but I'm asking, what I'm asking is,
Yes.
in the top of the
Uh,
under report name,
mm.
we need to mention tables and what are the tables we have used. We need to mention it right over there, sir.
No, that is not
Yes,
required.
yes.
That is for a
Okay,
different
okay, sir.
purpose. Okay? I'll explain it different. You don't
Okay,
you don't need to use this.
uh,
You don't need to use that concept. Even that is obsolete one.
okay,
Obsolete means outdated concept. I'll explain. In few scenarios we may need to use it, but I'll explain that. Okay, that is not at all required for us. Okay?
okay, sir.
Yeah. Now my final output structure is ready. I've designed that final output structure using type structure and defined one internal table. And for the rest of the tables, I am declaring in the select statement itself. This is the advanced inline declaration concept. Okay. You don't need to write data statement to define all these internal tables. Okay. Now, what we need to do, we need to merge the internal tables, right? For that, what I need to do, I need to loop loop the internal table. Which internal table I need to loop? I have three different internal tables, right? Which internal table I need to loop? I have employee master data internal table, employee department internal table, and department text internal table. Now, which internal table I have to loop? When you are looping, follow this cardinality. One, for each record in the first internal table, how many records we have in the second internal table? For each single record in first internal table, you have multiple records in the second internal table. Loop that second internal table. Now observe here. For each employee ID in employee master data, how many records you are going to find in employee department data? For one employee, how many records you will be having in employee department data? For each employee, how many records? More than one record, right?
Yes, sir.
Each employee contains multiple departments. That is n. More n means multiple. One means unique. So for each record in employee master data, we might have multiple records in employee department data. Correct? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now what is the internal table that we need to loop? N.
Department.
N means multiple.
Yeah.
Employee department will loop employee department data. Okay. This is not a very perfect example. Okay. But to understand the basics, this is enough. Loop, loop this internal table, employee department, loop it into which one? Work area, right? Did we already define the work area for this LT employee data internal table? Do you have a corresponding work area? Yes or no? No, right? We did not define it. Let's define here itself using inline declaration at the rate data w underscore emp department end loop.
At the rate, miss.
At the rate is not required in loop statement. At the rate is required only in select statements when you are using inline declarations. Okay. At the rate is not required here.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Okay, sir.
Now what is the data available in this work area when I am looping this?
Department table
Employee
data.
department table data, right? Now let's populate the data to
Yes,
final
sir.
internal table. W underscore final hyphen DEPT ID equal to DEPT ID. And what is the other field we have in the employee department data? Employee ID,
Employee
right?
ID.
EMP IDs.
Employee ID. EMP ID.
So we populated two fields, employee ID and department ID. What are the remaining fields? Employee name, date of join,
Department text
and department text. Now, from where we can find employee name and date of join?
from employee table.
Employee
Employee master
master
table.
table, right? In the first table, employee master table. How can you get that value here? We need to use which statement? Read statement, read table. Which table we need to read?
Employee table.
Employee master table, internal table,
IT underscore employee.
into work area. What is the difference between loop and read? Read statement is going to read only single record from internal table to work area, right? I'm using inline declaration to
Yes, sir.
define one work area for employee master data. Employee, what is the condition? With key. What is the condition? Employee ID equal to,
With key.
what is the employee ID we need to pass here? This one, whatever we are looping. Work area hyphen employee ID. Now, if sub RC equal to 0, what does that mean? If we are able to find that employee ID in employee master data, if read statement is successful, then populate. I'll just copy this and change the field names. And what we need to copy?
Department text.
Employee name and
Employee.
department date of join, right? In this employee master data we have
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
the fields which were available in this employee work area hyphen name and date of join. Please observe, this data is coming from employee master data. I have to use that corresponding work area, DOJ. Clear? Now, I've populated employee name and date of join also, right? What is the remaining field? Department text. This is the remaining
Department
text
text.
field, right? So from where we are getting this
Yes, sir.
department text? This table, department text table, IT underscore department text. Correct?
Yes,
Now we
sir.
need department name, right? Whatever we are populating for this employee. Correct? Now write one more read
Yeah.
statement for that. IT underscore DEPT text into I'm defining one work area using inline declaration DEPT text. What is the condition? What is the record we are expecting? With the key DEPT
Department ID
ID equal to which department
equal
ID?
to work area.
Department ID which we got in the loop. Okay, this one
Okay.
hyphen DEPT ID. Right? Now I'm going to get text for this department ID. If sy hyphen
Subars equal to 0. WA final department text.
and
DEPT
if.
text equal
Now if
to
it is successful, then I am populating the department name to the final internal table. What is the field name? Is the department name or different?
text.
Yeah, department text, not clear. From which table? Internal, this we have to use this work area here. Whatever the work area you are using in this read statement. Record will be copied to that work area, right? When you execute the read statement, one record is going to be selected from internal table to work area. Now at the end, clear all the work areas, whatever you are using here, because for the second record loop, it should clear, it should contain a new value. So clear all the work areas, whatever you are using inside the loop. Do we need to clear final? Now tell me, we are populating the final work area, right? And we are clearing it. Now is it make sense? Before that, what we need to do? We need to add this work area record to final internal table, right? Before clearing it. So what is the statement to
Yes,
add
sir.
work area record to internal table?
Append. Append, sir.
Append w
Append.
underscore final to which one? It underscore
IT underscore fine.
final and clear all the records including final. Now it will add records one by one to final record. So we are merging all these three internal tables data into one single internal table, that is it underscore final. Let's display that in the output. I'll use end of selection. It underscore final. Activate this and execute the program. It is displaying or not?
It is. Yes, it is.
Is that value correct? Check the values. Always validate your output. Is it a correct output or not? That is very mandatory. Okay. Displaying something is not important. Okay. You are displaying some data, but do you know that is it a valid data or not? Admin, what is this department text? Can you read this?
Verbal tongue.
What is
It's
this
some other
SAP?
language, sir.
It's another language. Did we log in English language or different language?
English.
We are using, we have logged in into English language only, right? But why it is
Yes, sir.
displaying in different
Yes, sir.
language? What did we miss? What did we miss? What is the mandatory thing
Text.
I've told you? Like when we are using text tables, we have to pass pras, right?
Yes.
Double click on this table. We need to pass language key. That
Yes.
is mandatory for every text
Yeah.
table. We missed that. And use understatement to add one more condition, and spras equal to which one? E or sy
En.
hyphen lan gu.
Geo.
This contains login language, whatever the language you logged in. Okay. Activate now. Execute the program. F8. Now it is displaying the correct data, right? Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Why we don't have any data for IT and Java departments? Text is not available
The text
because
we didn't
we
mention
did
it
not
over there.
maintain the
Yes, sir.
text in text table. Okay. If you maintain the text table and if you maintain the text in these two tables, those values will be populated. Clear? Is everyone able to understand? So here we have used for all entries
Yes, sir.
statement, and we have to remember the rules to use for all entries. So the first level header internal table should not be empty, and it should be in sorted order, and it should not contain any duplicate records. So it's a very important interview question for all entries. The other question is how can you delete duplicate records in an internal table? What is your answer? By using delete
We use
adjacent
delete
duplicates.
adjacent, delete adjacent duplicates.
Before that, you need to sort it. Okay, to find the duplicates, you need to sort it. Okay, clear? So again, it is not easy since you are beginners. It is not easy to understand with one single program. I'll explain you multiple programs. Okay, tomorrow I'll come up with one more program so that you will be very clear on this concept because it is very important. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in projects perspective, when you are working on the applications, this is very important concept like merging internal tables data. Okay. Try this program today. Okay. Tomorrow I'll explain one more program. So you'll get more clarity and we have some alternatives too for all entries like joins. Okay. Okay. First understand this concept. I'll explain those things in the next sessions.